I moved the chat, so
Oh,
we're gonna be. I took your guys' advice on the new footage and all that stuff and moving the chat around. But problem is we don't have too much new footage yet, so we're gonna go back to the old camera. This is from 10 days ago during the geek class. So if I need to move, actually, just for the hell of it, I'll move the chat box back to where it was for now.
oh yeah, this is when Dan wrecked me in the gi.
Good times. I'll put that there. That works. But yeah, the Justin, the kids had a really great showing too. We're gonna go over Braden and Gavin's matches because I had those videos on my camera. But then yeah, we got Cole and Josh and Caleb and Austin competing. And then on the mat we got Brandon and I, it looks like, and then Brandon and one front and center, Brandon and one of the Buellmeyers. And who are you with?
Me and Dan.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just
kicked him in the face.
I kicked him in the face, and then yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah. So I shot in to try and like invert underneath him a little bit here. He winds up hiking up and then putting me back. And then as soon as I came back up, I was trying to re-guard and caught him straight in the face.
Little shin in the nose.
Yeah.
Looks like Danny and Caleb going up top. I think that's Kale on his back right now with Brandon. Really like to see him fired up a little bit more. He's being a little too passive. I yell at him in person enough for that, so I won't berate him on stream. Yeah, rolling with Dan in the gi was that was fun too. I came this night specifically for that because I knew this was probably going to be one of his last nights training there while he was in town. So wanted to get a good gi round in with him, see how he handled that different aspect of the game.
Yeah, his gi game is way different. I feel like than no gi.
Well, his grip strength is ridiculous. So
it really is, but his his positioning, what is very very effective in the gi. I'm struggling this entire time to try and get out, right? Like I'm trying to put in good frames, get my knees in, and all that good stuff. And like even though I started to come around and start to re-guard, he's very good at maintaining good grips on my like lower pants, like down by my ankles, rather than up the top of the knees, and force me back down. Yeah, very controlling from the top.
So my match with Brandon here, he opted to pull guard. I think, let's see, yeah, I got him into a front headlock from standing. So he sits to guard and establishes half guard. And immediately I'm trying to get to my knee and elbow connection on my right side, which he does a good job of shutting down by bringing his own knee in. I couldn't win the inside position. But you'll see me here turning the corner to address his top knee position, his left knee in this case. So just one of the few simple common ways that you could get around a knee shield. It's not going to work very well if it's like totally across your body. You kind of have to get their knee to about center line, and then just if you can nudge it just just before the center line, that's where you can start to make your cut. And then here I go on to address briefly addressing my trapped knee by attacking his leg or attacking his knee and trying to get my knee free. But turning the corner is a very, very simple way that you can handle that knee shield. Meanwhile, it looks like Dan found his way to your back.
Yeah, I turtled up, and I felt like I had a better chance of trying to fight back to a guard from a turtle position than I did from trying to re-guard from bottom side control. So I give up this turtle. I'm trying not to allow him to get his left hook in. And then I think I wound up conceding the back here. But I felt okay about it because of the grips that he had. But then he slips in this bow and arrow.
Yes, he does.
And he's very high up, though. And so as he's like, so we've talked about it a couple of different ways to start getting out of the bow and arrow. One of them is for me to take my right hand and really addressing the strangle arm and try and push up. But you can see how his elbow is pulled right back very tight to his hip, his right elbow in this case. And I frankly did not have the chance in order to start chasing that arm. But what I was able to do was take advantage of, I don't want to call it a weak grip on my knee, but I don't think he was really respecting the power of the legs coming around the body. So as soon as I feel that he's not really being very aggressive with that knee grip, you can see what I do. I start walking away from the strangle, walking, and it's making it very difficult for him to grab my knee again. And by the time he is able to establish a knee grip, I'm able to come up into a guard. He does have me in like some triangle threat here, but I had my other arm in, and I wasn't threatened from a strangle necessarily. I was fighting back to a guard.
I wonder if he prefers the hooking, like the scoop grip on the knee for the bow and arrow, as opposed to like just the pants grip. I've always gravitated to the pants grip. I think because it's just the easiest to get. I could grab the pants. It's a little more, it's a little closer, I guess, an easier grip to establish than like trying to dig on the leg. I don't know. I guess that's just my preference, but
I prefer like a lower pants grip. So like I think Joe even asked me a while, like during maybe it was even this class, for the bow and arrow choke, and I actually prefer having my hands down at the shin or lower, like basically lower than the knee.
Yeah.
And the reason is because when you start walking away, or when the person starts walking away from you, it's very hard for them to get their the right angle if their foot is always like facing their butt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm always trying to grab that to keep it pulled back so that their foot is kind of like pulled back toward their butt.
Yeah. See what Caleb and Josh did here? Completely ruined the camera angle. Caleb trying to work this shoulder crunch finish. So he's got like it's hard to say who's doing what here. If Josh is pulling Caleb's head down, or if Caleb is putting his weight into the you're being bullied. Yeah, he definitely shoved you into the lockers and tried to take your lunch money. Looks like you're about trying to get him back though. This bulldog choke position. So I like what Caleb's doing here with his footwork. He steps behind the leg, and it looks like he tries to take Josh backwards, but Josh is able to step out of that and get his foot free. Like very, very subtle moves, like Caleb's sitting into it, looking to pull him down, but Josh is able to slip that leg, and that's what saves him here.
Yeah, Caleb for that takedown is the infamous Tanya Toshi, and you'd probably be better served going around for a tight, like a waist grip or a far lat grip in order to finish this.
Yeah,
so you're supposed to.
Totally
What's that?
agree. I totally agree. I was thinking that. I just feel like that over the shoulder grip here, it's going to be too easy to slip out of. If he had the head in, like if he went to the far trap, he could get more pull on Josh's upper body. But with that near side shoulder crunch, I don't think that's doing him any favors.
And Josh, just for your efficacy, like when somebody has that head position on you and they're kind of like side angle on your knee, it's a very dangerous spot for you. You really kind of, I mean, you did all the right things in this particular one, but this is a very dangerous takedown, believe it or not.
Yeah, if Caleb like threw his hips into your leg like that way, it could end poorly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have competed this weekend, put it that way.
Yeah.
Looks like you and Cole are getting after it. Maybe went too far ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember this one.
Almost in on a fireman's carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan's back to his bow and arrow strangle on Brandon here. Let's look at this. So from the back, this is what we're talking about when I tell you guys, especially the kids, that I don't want to see you doing rear naked strangles into gi. This is why. You can set up this bow and arrow and get so much more, somewhat like just such a better attack, like more force or torque around the neck, a much more secure position, much more difficult grips to break. Everything about the bow and arrow, in my opinion, is superior to the rear naked strangle if you set it up right.
I completely, yep, totally. And it did look like Dan preferred that underhooking on the near leg, under the knee. On that finish with Brandon.
Smack Caleb in the face right now. It'd be so funny. Cole really trying for that strangle.
My arms are tough to beat.
Well, he's got his head and strangle arm on the same side of the body right now.
Yep.
So he doesn't really have much of a strangle set up. That's a subtle detail to a newbie. I know Cole knows that. Cole's fighting for position right now. He knows that he's like dealing with you just about to escape. So I think that head position is a little bit more forgivable. It wasn't like he was trying to finish it there. See, yeah, he's trying to turn you away to keep the back angle.
My shoulders are starting to fight down to the mat here, so I'm starting to feel very confident in the escape path.
Dan's going in on a Tarikoplata here. Interesting. We don't see those too frequently. So this is cool. Always fun to break down a move you don't see a lot. Oh, so the Tarikoplata. That's probably the most well-known name for it right now. Guy Tarik something or other. I can't remember the kid's name. I think he's out of
European guy, right?
Yeah, out of Finland or something maybe. He brought this to prominence. So what you can see, Dan has, he's got like, think about a dorsal Kimura position, right? Except Dan's knees are off the ground. He's on his feet and he's starting to turn, looking behind Brandon. His hand position is not a standard Kimura. Trying to think my way through this. So if I'm in a dorsal position, I set up my figure four grip, but the problem is my opponent leaves their, like, maybe grabs their gi or their belt, or does something with their grip to make it very difficult for me to get their hand behind their back, which is essential for the Kimura. So what I do is I leave the arm that is hooking in elbow deep to his elbow. I leave that in, which Dan has here, and I start to turn the corner and climb over my opponent. So we're going to see Dan's right leg step over. He takes it to the mat, and now what he wants to start doing is turning his body around and this way, looking up in the direction of Brandon's head. What this is doing is putting a tremendous amount of torque on his shoulder while still leaving his hand in front of his body. So Brandon can grab his belt or his lapel or whatever, but he starts getting his elbow twisted back, applying force similar to the way a Kimura is executed. But now it's not the force of the hands, it's the force of the legs and the hips. And that's a much, much harder thing to resist. So even as Dan makes his way all the way over, Tarikoplata is normally finished. It would be finished from like right here, typically, but Brandon can get up into this. And Dan has the opportunity to use his legs for the finish, even from his back. So that's pretty cool. You don't see those two frequently. I don't think I've seen many of them done at our school before. I try them, but I always kind of fall off. I don't know if it's
I always forget about
legs are too short.
To be honest, I use the cross Kimura position more so than the Tarikoplata. I can normally get somebody's arm away from their body.
Yeah.
That way. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, dude? I'm so glad our school, like our students say us ironically and not regularly.
Yeah, right.
The first school I ever trained at, some of the kids said it like that. I was just like, what is this? What does this even mean? Like, I was totally new to jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm never saying this. Cole with the big reap right now. Now switching to an outside Ashi with the Cole's got like a hybrid. It's like he's like halfway between the straight ankle grip and a heel hook.
Yeah.
Now it looked maybe closer to the heel hook grip. No, you're probably hiding your heel very deeply on that one.
Yeah, he was cranking on. I think I told him that anybody else would have probably tapped to that.
Anyone but you. So Josh and Caleb here. So I don't know if Caleb's in the chat. He and I have some turtle breakdown stuff to go over. Josh is kind of working it here, so it's hard to tell, but I think Josh has tucked his knee in underneath Caleb's right side, between like his elbow and his knee. Caleb's going to be hard to break down from here. I like the adjustment you make. Before you make this adjustment, though, with that knee in, the next step I would look to do is step this foot inside between his legs and then drag his foot out this way. That's going to make it a little bit easier for you to insert your first hook. And since you're on the right side, trying to enter from the right side, if you break him down to the right with either like a power half Nelson or sagging heavy on the right shoulder, once you have this leg pulled out and the kind of a knee pinch, I'll have to show you some of this in class, but like that helps you get your first hook in there, and then as you guys settle into the back position, you can get your second hook in. Caleb decides before you can do any of that he wants to try to roll roll quickly in the other direction, and you take that opportunity to get your first hook in on the right side since he opened that space up for you, and then now you get your second hook in. So good little quick adaptation to his tactic. God, I need to like stop talking for a week. I hope I was loud enough for everybody at the competition, because
if you weren't, I know I was.
Yeah. Dude, it was just, in general, it was so loud there.
Yeah.
Last time we were at that auditorium, they put us in the other, like
The other section.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
auditorium, which was way bigger. And
Yeah.
now they have like 600 registrations and half the size.
Andrew and Cole.
Andrew getting after it. I wish Caleb and Josh didn't screw up the camera angle.
Cole hit like a lat juji armbar on Andrew up there.
Let's, oh, okay, for mount, yeah. That looks like something Bertram would do.
Yep.
So stepping up, I think. Looks like he pins the far arm, the left arm, and steps over it.
Yeah.
And then with the overhook, the fulcrum's now at the elbow with where his forearm is. So get some good pressure on it. So there, Brandon trying to turn the corner on the knee, like I was pointing out earlier. Let's see what happens here. So, because you're playing butterfly half.
I am. It's kind of like a sneaky butterfly half, right? It's really funny because we talk about butterfly half, and what we don't talk about sometimes is how closely related butterfly half is to Ashigurami. So you can see how like I basically am shooting straight into an Ashi here, but then once he sits up into me, I'm in butterfly half, right? Like my right leg is being very lazy in a butterfly half here, but I'm putting a lot of pressure on his hips upward to try and keep him off balance and unsettled.
Now as he gets around the knee. Looks like he swept him pretty easily. Okay, pretty much an arm drag there, yeah.
It becomes an arm drag, right? Because I'm playing with his arm positioning as he's trying to start cutting that angle, and I can go double unders or an over under on that same side arm, like you would an arm drag, and take him over that way.
This was nice. I like that you're immediately looking for that cross shoulder post.
Yes.
Because you're on this deep half guard. It's kind of like you're almost there with your arms, like your elbow's a little bit shallow, but you're setting up for that cross shoulder post to get Mike off balance here. Just trying to scoot your hips in. There you go. You push with the knee, come up with the leg, and then immediately attack a toe hold.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Now turning out the other direction to get around the leg. And this is something, Cole, I think we're going to spend some time on following the comp because butterfly half was very prominent in your matches, and like what we're seeing Brandon doing here, and I know how I like to handle butterfly half, like against like Luke or somebody. You have a lot of different options. So we just saw Brandon play with two of them. Turning the corner on the inside of the body. He was also attempting to smash the knees together and pass from there. That's I think what I feel like Khabib kind of popularized that in MMA, even if it wasn't like butterfly half kind of stuff. He likes to control the knees, pin the knees together, get around the legs. Then we saw Brandon trying to pass to the outside. That's just another direction that he can go. Way I like to do it is coming up the middle to that split squat stance, getting my elbow and knee together and winning the inside position, which opens up knee cut passing, knee stapling, and any other, all other sorts of variations, going into heavy chest to chest contact from half guard, all that stuff. So you have a lot of different options from there that we can build into a game. Caleb with the north-south strangle on Brandon. Let's see, I was talking through that whole progression. Brandon hits, or Caleb hits his, I think basically a Maki Komi sweep. Oh no, not even. Just kind of pulled Brandon over. Gets to top position, gets to a mounted crucifix, switches back to side control. Okay, and then from there it goes into reverse Kesa. And then into the north-south. And Brandon, even though this one sucks, nobody likes to have people smashing their ribs into your face. Good way to handle this is to just turn in towards it, kind of eat the discomfort for a little bit. But that opens up your neck. Shouldn't say it opens up your neck. It removes his connection to your neck. It's a good way to stop that strangle from happening. The real Rusty Shackelford. Who are we talking about?
I can't remember. I couldn't remember who it was.
Identify yourself, Rusty. Or don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
I forgot who that was.
In class.
Big wide open spaces right now. Okay. It's fine by me. Oh, it's Jordan. That's who it is.
It's not Mo BJJ Rocks.
No, he was the one who mentioned Rusty Shackelford the other day.
Okay.
Danny is the rustiest one we have.
Totally.
J Rock.
Okay. All right.
Solid Trailer Park Boys reference as well. Oh yeah, this is my roll with Dan. It's the only gi roll he and I got to have over on the side, but with a pillar. This is funny. I tried to hit the Uchi and he gets behind me. And he picked me up, totally not going to slam me, and I knew he wasn't. He said afterwards, he's like, "Nah, I wasn't going to." But I was like, "Yeah, you were just kind of asserting your dominance there. Like I've been picked up and thrown down too many times." It's hard trying to hit the Uchimata on people taller than me. Like when their hips are
get them,
so high,
way overcommitted.
Yeah,
Front weight, like over top of their toes.
I feel like I should just go for Haragoshi from there instead. Like where
If
hip
you can
height,
get that, yeah, absolutely.
if the hips are too high, then just go for the outside of the knee. Let's see, Joe laying some pressure down on Caleb. Trying to turn the corner, almost gets there.
Yep.
Let's see that one more time. Thank you, Cole. Let's see. I'm not upset at this attempt that Joe does here. So I can't tell when he starts thinking about it. Right here, you shouldn't be thinking about it because Caleb's on his side, and that entire side of his body is hidden to you. But now he kind of gets a hand on the leg. You can see him pull Caleb's left leg up. I'm curious if that was to open it, or if now, since Caleb has started to like move you down the body, if that's where you think, okay, well, I'm here, may as well go into it. Or balance.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And that also, like, you know, a little bit of a sloppy, hasty entrance there, probably because it was more opportunistic than planned, which is why I don't think it worked out very well. You didn't have the time to like take the slow controlled setup into it, and Caleb was able to capitalize on that. Nice ranked MOBJJ rash guard, by the way,
Yep.
Joe. Does anybody else wear the white one? Yeah, rip that
I
shit.
don't recall
Rip it.
anybody.
There we go.
Nice arm.
Yeah, there we go. Attacking the grip. Oh,
Oh, lost it.
good timing on Caleb's part. I'll go back a little bit here. So with that diving entrance, I can't say I would endorse doing that frequently, just because you have really like you have no lower body connection at all. And then right here, if Caleb can slip his elbow, you've completely given up position. You've put your back on the mat and you don't have your legs in, so it's a huge gamble. You know, I guess high risk, high reward. You know, if you can manage to get a sub out of this. I like seeing your train of thought here. You go, all right, forearm. Let me see if I can break his grip, or compromise his grip. You can't get it, so you go in and you miss the grip, and you immediately go back for it. You go right to the wrist, and yeah, right. So I like the grip right here. Trying to think. I would typically, so with this wrist gripping that Caleb's doing, he doesn't have like a gable grip. He's grabbing his own wrist. It's kind of a weak grip. It's got a big opening, and we're looking at it right here where his thumb and fingers come together. You can normally break that open pretty easily, but I like that you lean towards the head. Caleb was just ready for it. And that's kind of the problem with that lean to the side. This is where you'll see guys grabbing with the left arm, the body side arm, grabbing to take the screw grip at the knee, like we saw Dan doing in his bow and arrow. That's to prevent a turning escape like this. Good awareness on Caleb's part here to go for that. With that turning escape, Caleb, I would like to see you come up and then immediately cut around to the side behind Joe. Maybe there was something going on here that we can't see as far as the grip is concerned that is preventing you from doing that or making you hesitate. But normally you can hit that rolling escape into a very easy guard pass. And then attack the back, which is normally wide open. Attacking on the Kimura. But Caleb is in like a 3/4 mount. I don't know why Caleb isn't. Oh no, he's in mount, not 3/4. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. I guess they move for the pillar. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I would let go of any attempt on a Kimura right now and focus on escaping mount.
Yips.
Yeah, because Caleb has all the mobility there. So as soon as he gets out, your arms are kind of away from your body and isolated. He might be able to use that against you and set up set up like an arm triangle, or at least get an easy underhook out of that, which I think we all know by now. Prioritizing underhooks and mount is it's an important thing to do. Now, if you were in half guard, I'd say go for it, play around with it. So Cole, you and I spoke about this weeks ago now, in dealing with some leg stuff. You have an interesting opportunity here with Andrew. The way your legs are against his, like you've got your hooks in behind his knees. I want you to think about if you took this leg, you took your left leg here and straightened it out and extended it through to where your knee was behind his knee, and then you pulled it back. You would be bringing his leg to you, and you would also be setting yourself up for a standard ashi garami. So you can pull his leg and isolate it and kind of get him off balance, and then shoot your hips up, shoot your legs up to get into an ashi, rather than working from your back with these sticky hooks. That's not a terrible spot to be, but you can proactively enter the legs from here. Well, what do you think about that, Mike?
I completely agree. You have to be very comfortable and confident with being able to keep one of your knees in between your partner's knees, right? So in this case, like from what Matt was saying, you'd be shooting through with your left, which means that your right knee has to be like pinned up against their hips, or at least close to your chest, depending on how you want to play it. I tend to, like, when I'm trying to pull somebody into me, I try and play to where my knee stays pinned to my chest. And then, shooting your left leg through, that's 100% right on.
Yeah, that way they can't just like sit down into mount.
Exactly, yes.
Thank you, Rusty. Cole's like, what the hell are you talking about? No, I think you'll remember it because we spoke about it after class a while ago. I think it'll ring a bell.
Oh, that was nice, Joe.
Joe trying to do exactly what we were showing Josh earlier.
Yep.
So Joe,
the one thing
go ahead.
that I would caution against with this is, and this is a nuance, Joe, is your hip position. So when your hips are facing towards Caleb's head, if Caleb is able to roll through somehow, right, shaking your grips and doing whatever, he has an opportunity to enter into your legs. If your hips are facing back towards his feet, then if he rolls through, he has no leg entrance. You can easily backstep out of it and come right up on top. So that's the only piece. Otherwise, this is very well executed, in my opinion.
Steps in, drags the foot out, gets that hook in.
Yep.
Caleb's still turning in that other direction to hide the other hook from coming in, or hide the ability for the hook to come in. Got the Oss brothers. I was glad you guys wore your matching gis to the competition, or matching rash guards. Big step over.
So Cole, I would like to see you breaking down the turtle, like what Joe was just trying to execute here, rather than doing the big step over. I think you could really benefit from breaking the turtle down the way that Jameson does.
In on the
I'll be there
strangle.
Thursday. We can work on it Thursday if you want to. Otherwise, I don't know if you want to work with Matt tomorrow.
Yeah, remind me tomorrow. That and the butterfly half stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing great, sweetie.
So again, great opportunity here, Cole. Same exact thing that Matt was just talking about, right? Same position, shooting your left leg through and coming around into a Biarimi Ashigarami.
So that's
Right, just like that.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And Josh, so when somebody has this type of positioning on you, can you go back to where Cole? Yeah, Cole's starting this knee cut, but he has no underhook. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So Josh, if you were able to get your left hip down to the mat, right, to where basically you would be, fully facing that way, that direction. If you come around and scoop behind Cole's back, you can start threatening to come up and actually take him back over, right, and put him down on the mat. So you can either, threaten the best case you would have a back take. Worst case you would have a wrestle up to where you are no longer on bottom. So, pay attention to where the person's underhook is or is not. And if you can get up onto that side, I advocate doing that 100% of the time. Very similar to what you just did here. There's no underhook, and you're able to get your hips out and get up on top. That's a sweep in a competition.
Set it up with a muffle reversal.
Very nice. Another one, Cole. That was very well executed. I love the timing of this. This is exactly what Jameson is talking about. Your left leg. So it looks like your left leg dominant when it comes to the pulling, and your right leg is the one that you prefer to shoot through. I really like this entrance for you.
Turn the corner. Just about into cross ashi. If you scoot your hips out this way a little bit more, looks like you're kind of trying to.
Yeah, I really like that entrance for you.
Kids grappling, beating up adults. Damn, you armbarred Cole.
Nice.
It's so embarrassing for Cole. Boss. We got, I think, Dan and Joshua by the perimeter. Looks like Luke gave Cole a Brazil tap here on the back. You see that? Right here, watch. That's a Brazil tap.
Yep.
So let's see. We got Luke playing his deep half game. That was good. He was digging on the leg. Got a nice deep crossface, and you're denying him the leg. So one thing that Luke is really good at here, from this deep half position, this whole time you could see. We'll go back a little bit further. Watch how much he uses his legs to off balance Cole. So the whole time he's really engaging his legs and his core to get Cole's hips above Luke's hips, and that allows him to dictate where this is going to end up. So even as he's digging on the leg, he can't get there. He can still use the motion of his legs to get Cole off balance. Cole's constantly having to like base back out. He puts his hands on the mats. That's when Luke can shoot in for like the shoulder crunch that he's trying to do here, which he'll probably try to transition into a straight arm. If I was a gambling man, I'm sure that's what he's thinking. Much for a cheap Americana there. But this whole time, he has disrupted Cole's ability to get his own knee free and progress on the pass because he's constantly keeping him off balance. There, he disrupted Cole's hand position against his leg, which would have, aided in Cole getting his knee free. Looks like he's trying to play with the bottom side Ezekiel. Now he's doing a bottom side smother because that's our coach. Right into the cleavage. Did he get the tap? I think Cole tapped it.
He did.
If I had to guess, I think Cole was probably getting his nose smashed there. I can't imagine that's especially suffocating, but I'm sure there was some significant discomfort. Smash. Good guard against Luke.
Yep.
Luke really trying to throw those legs by. Now working his body lock pass. Trying to step over the knee. That was really good prevention. Cole's getting into dangerous territory here and exposing his back. And also muffling Luke. Yeah. Just looks for the smother every chance he gets now. All right, so now, all right, you got yourself heavy chest to chest pressure here. What I would focus on, Cole, when you get here, like this is a great spot for you to be, right? Half guard is a really good spot to pass. You've got a few things you want to get. First off, you need your underhook. I'd like to see an underhook on the same side as your trapped leg. Ideally, you can work with an underhook on the opposite side too. It's just sometimes a little bit harder to get. Next thing is getting your knee free. The easiest way I find to get my knee free, even against Luke, is I have to get my underhook established first, and I have to get a match, cross face with my other arm, heavy shoulder pressure, TPing my hips up a little bit, not too high because I don't want to like completely screw up my balance. But once I get my hips up, I could start using my free leg to foot pummel out and get the knee free and then get the ankle free and all that. But from this lockdown position that Luke sets up, okay, he didn't. Wait, now he's got the lockdown. This presents a little bit of a problem in even getting the knee free. You start to posture up and you kind of lose your underhook here. So you're not going to make any progress until you can get that back. Dealing with the lockdown is a little bit of a different story. You have to like flare your leg out to the side to break that connection. Yeah, this is just Luke's game all day. Like he sets up either the lockdown or the deep half or whatever. He's got, I think we all know by now, he's got a pretty offensive half guard game that he likes to play. But he used that deep half position and your laps here in a chest control or like chest pressure to set up this Kimura. Gotta trust that pressure when you get it. Little shoulder crunch sweep for me on Andrew here. Let's see. Looks like he wins, or he gets hip height here. I try to shoot in on either a triangle or something. My shoulder crunch is pretty low there. I'm not happy with that. I'd rather see the elbow up over the scapula just to have a very secure grip on it. But now as he brings his hips up, I can kind of keep him going, and I just take his base away and turn his hips. Caleb and Josh. Caleb put on some nasty knee on belly pressure and muffler. You know, for as much as you guys do that to each other in class, I really would love to see you do it more in competition.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to practice it and utilize it, as long as it's not illegal, you should be doing it at competition. We've got one more week of legs, right? I think that's what's going on this week. Yeah.
Yep.
Doing push-ups. Good. Good. We'll do a whole muffler series in preparation for April. I was looking ahead on the competition calendar, and Good Fight is April 1st, but it's in Morrisville out by Raleigh, which kind of sucks.
Yep.
So if you guys want to take a 2-hour trip out to Morrisville for the sub-only competition, could be a good time.
Grappling Industries is
March 11th, I think.
March.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think March 11th, I want to say. I had it written down. I throwing it out.
Yeah, you shared it with me. And either way, that one's in Charlotte. It's close.
Yeah. Oh, what are these two jabbering about instead of rolling? So Caleb also choosing to attack half guard from turning the corner around the knee shield. And there are normally two paths to take here. You're either going to work to get your knee free, which it looks like Caleb is trying to do here, or you're going to do the sit around to cross Ashi that we saw Joe work earlier against Caleb. Josh, if you're going to disengage like that and give him his knee, you shrimp your butt back. I need you immediately filling that space.
Yep.
With your legs. So right here, you feel, oh, he's getting his leg free. And it looks like you decide to slip out. Right here, you've got to get that bottom knee up and through. I need that knee connecting to your elbow so that that's setting up your side guard, and that gets you much safer from this position because you're essentially pulling out of half guard. You're going to need your legs in between you to prevent the pass. And then what happened there? Round to north-south and assume a smother or something. little tripod sweep coming up to top to the straight ankle, maybe. Saw a little bit of that this weekend.
Yep.
Just one more time. It was a nice little hand to Josh's left ankle and like extending at the hips, getting him off balance. I'm excited to go over those competition matches. It's like the one with the one where Caleb executed almost that exact move. It's gonna be really good to watch again.
Yeah, for sure. I was excited while it was happening.
Yeah, that's probably where I totally threw my voice out.
I think both our voices were shot by that time, to be honest.
Yeah. So we also got Dan up here working on this armbar against Cole. See how Dan likes to break the grips.
He's using a lot of leg pressure here, so he's going over instead of going quarter juji, like feeding through. He was using his right hamstring to pressure down on Cole's left arm to make it less effective with the grip.
Curious if that was a bicep slicer. Like if you finish that with, because like Cole's arm comes out of this and it's not extended. So I have a feeling Cole gave a verbal tap there, since I didn't see any arms. And it may have been from bicep pressure.
Could have been, yeah.
Let's see. So Cole actually, he was the aggressor here, kind of around the back, but I think Dan slips out. Yeah, slips his head out and comes around the side. And then keeps that elbow isolated. Looks like I would say he leaves a little bit of space here with his hips. I'd like to see him tighten that up as he makes this transition around. As he sits here, I feel like if Cole timed that, he may have been able to slip that elbow.
Yep.
But that's grainy footage we're looking at. So. And then with this, I feel like this pressure here. So with the, trying to think, I haven't been putting a bicep slicer in a while, which I'm very happy about because they're super uncomfortable. But I feel like if you, I don't know, you can disrupt your grip. Like you can open your grip up, and I feel like you could possibly take your hand down the body. Like you may not be able to extend your arm away, but you might be able to take your hand down the body or up the body, which may have been the path to an escape here. I don't want to speak too certainly of that because I haven't had to deal with those in a while. But because like I'm just seeing Cole's head just about peeking out here. Cole's got influence over the legs. That may have been a way to handle that. Maybe I'll have to look at that. One of you try to put me in a bicep slicer. If you can. Right, Dan and Luke. Oh, this is where you swerved me when I wanted to roll with you. You're like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I believe. Yep.
Joe steps up. So this is a little work with, you can watch me shoot in on the foot sweep and then snap down. I know Joe's going to step back from that, so I do a quick snap down instead. He had good control over my wrist, so I couldn't like do a cross-side snap down where I put his head under my other arm. But the point of that is trying to get him to move his feet back so that his head is far out in front of his feet and I could snap. And this was just a terrible attempt at like rolling through this grip way up over the lat. I just couldn't move him. So we got on top. And let's look at Luke and Dan. So, because let's see, Dan's playing half guard. Luke's got this heavy chest pressure, but he doesn't have the underhook yet. He's just using his free hand to get his knee free. So he makes it up to mount without the use of an underhook. Which again, I don't necessarily recommend as your first approach to passing half guard, but Luke can do that. Trying to go for the Americana, and Dan slips his head back in. Now we see Luke using that exposed arm where Dan's got his elbow up nice and high. Luke's trying to keep it there above the shoulder line. Setting up the Katagatame. Let's see if Luke even fully dismounts. Doesn't. Super disrespectful. Finishes it from like a half-ass mount. Now Dan's paralyzed.
Well, Luke's arm triangles are pretty devastating once they set in.
There have been a couple I've been able to like not escape. I only got out of them because Luke got bored with it. Like I managed to hide my chin deep enough to where he couldn't establish a connection to my neck. So I just ate a neck crank for like 2 minutes while he decided to torture me before moving on.
The last one I was in with him, I was loopy by the time I was like midway through the next roll. I was just too stubborn to tap, and yeah.
Caleb Cole. Joe and I are slowly making our way back on screen. What did Brandon and Danny just do?
Danny just shot in for a double leg, a really nice double leg. Does not give up.
Yeah.
Winds up chasing it down, but then Brandon just has this gut wrench grip on him, and then winds up just boom, popping him right over.
Let's see if he gets out. He's kind of pinned himself right now.
It's a tough one.
And Danny swims back over and gets that position. Maybe a knee bar on Joe here. I don't remember if I finished this or not. Yeah,
Yep.
I guess I do. Joe, I'm curious what your intentions are with this double wrist grip, because you were using that on me earlier too, and I've used this as well. I tend to transition it into a single leg. You know, like look at how you're kind of pulling my upper body down. Both of your hands, at least for a few moments, get close enough to my legs to where you could turn this into a single leg entry. Curious if that's what your intention is, or what you've been doing with that lately to play with it. The danger there is that you're leaving, kind of leaving your head undefended. It's like I said, it's not like I could just snap you down into like a standard front headlock position. Okay, yeah, that's honestly the top of my head. Like that's the primary thing I could think of is transitioning into a single leg with the double wrist grip.
Double wrist grip on the cross side is the best for pulling. If you're going to pull guard, near side double wrist grip. If you're gonna pull guard, it leaves you open to a knee cut pass right off the like right out the gate.
What do you mean near side and cross side with the double wrist grip? Because I
So
feel like
so
it's, how do you establish what's near side, what's cross side?
yeah. So you see how your hips are bladed away from Joe here.
You'd call that cross side.
That I would consider that to be cross side.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So Joe has a square stance with you, and you have a bladed stance with him, right? And that's normally, like, for me, that's indicative of somebody who's intending to pull guard from here. It's a defensive stance.
Like me about to pull guard, or
No.
Joe? Joe's about to pull guard. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't say not to use this for pulling guard. I just don't see you pulling guard lately, so like I can't imagine you doing that. It didn't give me that impression that you were doing that. But yeah, play around with this for the single leg. And I think, Mike, you said if I'd bladed my hips the other way to what you'd call near side or a same side, that's what you're saying. Use a single leg for.
I would use a single leg for that.
Attempt the single leg from there. Yeah, I agree with that. Or let your opponent do a shitty Uchimata and take his back. Also works.
Either one.
Yeah. Didn't create a lot of space for me to work with on that back to mount transition, so that was good. I think you guys know I normally like to find my way to the legs during that transition, and there's no way I could do it on that one. With that heavy chest to face pressure, that's where I'm looking to hit kipping escapes. Just ran out of time before I could make any real attempt at it.
So Josh, the same advice that we were just giving Nicole in terms of like your leg positioning and shooting one through and going into Ashigarami, pertains to the same setup that you just had with Jameson. So I know, Jameson was trying to look for different angles and things like that on you. But if you look, like, Jameson has a square stance on you. Anytime that your opponent has a square stance and you have your legs or your feet in between their legs, you have a leg entrance. At any point in time, you could pull Jameson into you with those wrist grips that you have, or at least very close to it, and then pull him over top of you, shoot one leg through, one leg stays in, and you have an Ashigarami entrance. But now the Toriando is starting.
Well, I was gonna say, not so much a Toriando. I couldn't manage to get like good like crescent steps around him. So here instead I opt to try passing from half guard. I try to work my way to half guard instead, because the looser passing wasn't working for me. Even though I had the connections on the legs and everything, I just couldn't establish a good path to walk around. So then it was get to half guard and try to take a tighter passing route. Looks like I'm losing the underhook battle. But I'm controlling the head here and trying to minimize the impact of any underhook that Josh could get. Okay, Josh has opted instead for the overhook, but I don't have a deep underhook, I don't think. What fancy shit did Luke just do? Do you know Trevor? Trevor from Trailer Park Boys?
I'm not
Second
familiar.
Trailer Park reference? No, Conrad, I have no idea what you're talking about. Luke's getting inverted here to, okay, into Crossashi.
But,
Yeah, but then, oh, okay, he hits like a weird toe hold here at the end. Do you see that? Watch
oh
him.
yeah.
So right here.
It's like a reverse toe hold. He's got the big toe is what he's kind of attacking.
Yeah. So retired BJJ professional. I don't know, man. If you got his last name, maybe Trevor. I can't think of any retired
No, not off the top of my head.
Trevor.
So it looks like you're going for the Tarikoplata. Oh, or you?
Thought about
Okay.
it, but
Yeah, you were thinking about it. Now into the armbar.
that was a early tap on that one before I could do too much. What about Trevor, Conrad? And thank you for the follow, by the way. I think you're one of our more recent followers. And welcome to the chat.
Dan's got a nice armbar set up.
He likes his arm bars.
He does. Got it.
That's good. I like his adjustment on his grip here. This strikes me as like kind of half. It's like half what you learn right at the beginning when you first learn how to do arm bars, where he's got this like bear hug on the arm, but then he transitions right to the end of the lever very well with both hands, and then
Yep.
he's hitting this push pull over his hip, which is how we like to see the finish. So he controls it, gets it isolated all the way through, and then applies some really good braking mechanics there to put the stress on.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what James, if Jameson can do anything with that. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I was trying to do the what Giant Slayer was doing to everybody. Josh was having none of it. I really want to look for that from dorsal. He has an entrance there, a little like ninja roll style entrance from like a dorsal.
Oh yeah.
I need to watch that video again. I think he did that against his second opponent, the one where he like racked up a bunch of points. There was just a quick double underpass, which I don't think I see you guys using frequently enough for what is a very high percentage pass. I think it's a little underutilized at the school. And look at where I'm using it from. Let's look at the setup. So from an open guard all the way on the outside, even with Josh briefly having double inside leg position, I step in, I catch him opening his legs up here, and you're not just gonna get charity for me leaving one arm in, one arm out. So since I have my left arm on the underhook, I don't want to leave my right arm in. So I swim that to an underhook, and now once I get there, I focus on getting Josh on his shoulders before doing any style of pass. What I called the diaper change when I was talking shit to him. So I pull him up onto his shoulders, and normally I'll throw my hips into this to like kind of load up on the shoulders, make them immobile, and then swim the legs by. I was able to manage to get my way to mount. And Cole, you could really throw that one into the strategy against a butterfly half as well. you kind of have to disengage a little bit just to get the arm position you want. But we can look at that again. Like, there's nothing especially what do I want to say? Like, there's nothing about butterfly half that poses like a remarkable, unique problem. What it really does, in my opinion, is it makes it difficult for you to pressure forward. And if you do, like kind of like we saw against in my second match at the last competition where I got the inside heel hook, that was from using butterfly half and my opponent pressuring in forward towards me. That got me that position. So if you kind of disengage a little bit, or not even disengage, but keep in this like neutral kind of middle distance, you can use those double underpasses, passing from a split squat stance, and then if you manage to pummel his leg to the outside, you could work passing from half guard as well.
Yeah, but butterfly half negates chest to chest pressure.
Right, as long as that butterfly hook is in there.
Right. So, and that's kind of like, you know, Cole, what you've been very reliant on up to this point is getting chest to chest to promote the passing. And now we just have to change it up a little bit.
Good sweep. Ooh, with the quickness. This gets pressure, blocks the arm. What was the... I guess it just went right into...
Smother.
Yeah, right into a smother. Good, I'm glad you guys are starting from here. Give Joe some practice on his mount escapes against a heavy threat. What's up, Zane? How you doing, bud?
What's up, man?
So, Joe, I like your thought here with attacking the posted arm. Here, problem is, as soon as you try to do it, you've already telegraphed what you want to do. So any further attempts at pulling this arm out from underneath Cole are just going to be met with more resistance. Think about this. Rather than pulling his arm towards you, so before I go further, the way his hand is against the mat with his fingers pointing out and away from you, if you pull his arm towards you, you're working against the bend of his wrist, and you're not going to put enough bending pressure on the wrist to really make him worry about his arm. But instead of pulling that towards you, if you pushed it out and away, Cole doesn't have any resistance in this direction. So you could kind of give it a little bit of we'll call it a little palm strike, a little push right across the veins of his wrist. And that could disrupt all the weight that he's putting down through his arm, and get him even more off balance than he already is. You're already lifting a leg up over here. So rather than pulling that arm towards you, next time you find yourself there, someone posting their arm, you're not in a position to attack a Kimura, try pushing the arm out from underneath him as opposed to pulling it. Zane, how did you enjoy your first week of legs class? I don't think you've been into legs since you started, so it seemed like you were picking things up pretty quickly, which we like to see. Stepping up to the mounted triangle position. I assume just getting... Oh, it was like that straight arm, kind of like the straight arm he had before.
Yeah.
I assume Joe maybe tapped in here a little early before any real stress is put on. Have to wait for 1 second. How did that pass happen? Okay, little knee cut. Yeah, that's good. That's a great attitude to have about it. That's where I think a lot of schools go wrong in not introducing white belts to leg locks. Kind of demystify them, get you familiar with the positions. we don't expect you to break legs anytime soon, or even fully understand the finishing mechanics yet. But I was hoping I could get you guys familiar enough with the Irimi Ashigarami or standard Ashigarami on Tuesday when I taught. Cole just about did the same escape against Joe that he did against Caleb last week. The one I said really pissed me off, where he just kind of like picked his legs up and rolled backwards out of it.
Yeah.
Joe coming around the north-south, getting hip punched in his floating ribs. Joe, it looks like for a second you were thinking about trapping that arm. Like stepping over to trap the arm. So, yeah, Zane, if you have any interest in competing anytime soon, like even while you're, you know, a white belt, you know, teenager, whatever, I think any division you would join for the time being, you won't have to worry about any leg locks, maybe a straight ankle, which, you know, we practice quite a bit when we're doing our leg week. Down the road, you know, if you really, you know, get into competing, you'll be well prepared for any heel hooks or knee bars or toe holds or anything like that. I really like this grip that Cole takes over Joe's face here to get this sweep. I love when I can hit that on people. Just my knuckles right across their mouth, trying to pull them over.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be careful on this come up, Joe. The way you're planting your left arm here, this is, if you were going against Austin would throw a triangle up on you with the quickness. I don't want to say, there's really no other way to do it. Like if you want to get your hips up, you're going to have to prop up on an elbow, but it's just something to keep in mind. Pay attention to your opponent's body positioning and whatnot. That's a hell of a dogfight. I'm going to hide you real quick. Look at this finish. Damn it.
That's a little off camera.
Yeah. This was really nice. God, Cole could lock up the side triangle right there. He's kind of in it right now, but he comes up to a top position and loses it a little bit. Looks like we might end here. What happens? Oh, damn, Joe pulls a knee bar out of it. All right. Let's see how he gets there. I mean, we're going to have to guess, so.
So he's up on a single leg here.
Yeah. This is the most exciting footage. 25% of their body showing as we guess what's happening. I assume he's getting I think he gets like, kind of looked like he had a toe hold grip or something. Maybe it was just very end of the lever.
Yeah, I think he's just grabbing the leg to try and extract it. He throws his left knee across the hip line of Cole here, and then seals the deal. He's got both knees pinching. He doesn't have his legs fully wrapped around the thigh.
Right.
But it was enough to put enough pressure on it.
Yeah. I'll never know. Yeah, that's fair. And at your age, you know, it's good to compete. The older you get, the more it hurts. The older you get, the more you look like Joe. Yeah, it's still just legs. Well, I'm not sure. We never really know what we're gonna teach a days out. You know, we kind of. I mean, at least I decide my curriculum before the class. So if I'm teaching, I think Luke kind of does the same. Mike does the same. So it'll be leg based. I can tell you that much. Just end. Hey, we can't end without giving Joe his credit on that. Wow, Eric the Red puts on an omoplata on Luke. Cool. All right, good. So yeah, that was from 10 days ago, just prior to the competition on a gi night. Oh, chat's still up in the corner. In any case, yeah. So, like we said, back to leg stuff for the remainder of this week. On Wednesday, please join us again. We'll be going over competition footage from this past Saturday, the new breed competition. We'll be going over. I've got video for the walkers, and then we got Josh, Cole, Austin, and Caleb and their performances. So please tune in for that. We always appreciate you guys watching and supporting, following if you haven't, subscribing if you can, supporting us at coffee.com/MOBJJ as well. What else? I think we're back on our normal schedule this week. We'll have Luke tomorrow, Bertram on Tuesday, and then Luke on Thursday. What else? Anything else? Any other orders of business?
I think that's about it.
All right, good stuff. Well, yeah.
Next comp is in February 11th or something like that, or 14th or whatever.
Yeah, actually, while we're do I have that handy? I think I do. While we're talking about that, just in case you guys are interested, as always, tell us what you guys want to do as far as competitions go. Next, the soonest competition somewhat nearby is February 25th out in Raleigh. It's a new breed competition.
That's right.
Yeah, and then Grappling Industries after that on March 11th in Charlotte. So if you guys want to compete, if you're interested, as always, talk to your coaches. Let us know what you guys want to do, and we can get you spun up and prepared for that. Any judo upcoming? I don't know anything about the competitive judo landscape at all. I've never done it. I don't need to do any more sports that involve me hitting the ground at high speed. I mean, I'll happily teach you some judo throws at class, so we can talk about that more. Yeah, we'll always incorporate that into class if that's what you're asking. But yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you tuning in, and go trim your nails and do your laundry, and don't be stinky. And we will see you guys back at class.
Later.
Take it easy.